All right. Hello. Welcome everyone. Welcome everybody. We are about to start the New York pre-market session for today, and it might be a lot of fun. So, looking at the daily chart, let's make a proper analysis. We have still buy-side liquidity that rests above this old high from January 28th. So that's a reasonable pool of liquidity on the upside still. So let's change the color. Let's use this. All right, let's label it properly. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. And here I want to pay attention to this last inefficiency before the high. Let me actually zoom in whether there is any volume imbalance, but looks like no. And here also. So this is the 4-hour CB that was linked to the swing high, and the business is that the price was able to trade above that here on a closing basis. So now I would be making a point and argue to see this act as potential inversion for value gap. Okay, this is 4-hour bullish inversion for value gap. That's what it is here. And with that said, daily and 4-hour, I'm expecting still potential upside on the Nasdaq. Will we see that today? I don't know for sure, because we extended the up move quite a bit, but nonetheless there is still liquidity resting higher. Let me change the visibility settings here so it's visible on current and below. Okay, so let's now drop to the 15-minute time frame, and I'll note the midnight open here. So far since the London Open we consolidated with slight movement lower, tapping into that 4-hour inversion for value gap. I'll actually add the quadrants here so we can measure it like that. Okay, so these are the levels here. Good morning, Anastalani. Hello, welcome to the party. So clearly on the 15-minute chart, this is where the buy side resides. It's London high, pretty much, right? Yep, it's heart of the London. Okay, we dropped slightly lower, not too chubby. Price couldn't even reach the upper octane of this inversion for valley gap. So let's see how it will develop. We have a fair valley gap right here that overtook this low. So this, including the volume imbalance, might be a potential inversion fair valley gap. Okay. So right now it's a SIBI, so I will use it as such. But if we go above it on a closing basis, then it could act as a bullish inversion for valley gap. Okay, so now let's drop to the 5-minute chart. Huge extended rally since yesterday. Slight consolidation into a little bit of retracement lower so far, taking sell side and tapping into this inversion. But now I want to include a measurement for the event horizon here. Right, so basically you can see that the bodies were not able to close below the event horizon right there. So that could be potentially setting some bullishness here, but yet I would like to see how we trade into this 15-minute SIBI, whether we can overtake it or not. After all week long, it's Thursday, we could see some potential high being placed today, but with all of this rush to take it higher, I suspect we might see a higher high on the day at least than we did in the London. So let's watch the 1-minute chart now, and we'll see what we get out of it. So I will annotate the inefficiency here properly. So that's a 15-minute SIBI. Exactly. And let's see what we get. Okay, so on the 1 minute, the most obvious buy sell liquidity is here. That's an old high here. We are trading back inside of this range. To about, yeah, tapping slightly above the 50% right here. So we are trading into premium of this range. There is a 1 minute fair value gap or inefficiency right here. So I want to make a notation of that. And yeah, from now on I'll be just watching the price, reading the tape, having fun. Let's have some fun with it. Let's read into the lines. Good morning, Neko Basu-san. Welcome. Nice to see you, my friend. So do I when I see you in the chat, bro. Neko Basu-san. It sounds like a Japanese inspired nickname. Pretty interesting. But yeah, today we will have some news. At 8:30 we have US initial jobless claims, US Philly, high impact news. And at 9:15 we have US industrial production. So these two economic drivers might be seeing some volatility today. So I'm keeping that in mind. So far we just retraced back into 50% of this range after we dive deep into this 4-hour bullish inversion for value gap. So it could basically do both sides from where it is. It could go higher, it could go lower. So I'm not really trying to pick the direction right now. I do favor higher, but we'll see what we get. If it's bullish, I would like to see price trade above this 1 minute 630 CB and then find some support there. That would be a sign of bullishness, in my opinion. That could lead to a run on the buy sell liquidity here, but that's something I will be watching. Well, Nekobasu, nice to meet you then. It's a pleasure. And yeah, very interesting. Cool. I like it. Oh, by the way, I just remembered to start the recording of the stream. Nonetheless, I will miss the first 40 minutes of mapping all of the levels, sadly, unless I clip it. Let's see, maybe I will not forget. But yeah, I should remind myself to always start the recording with starting the stream. Sometimes I forget. Okay, so generally I'm curious how we will trade this pre-market, because we saw quite some loose movements before, especially during like the lunch in the early 6 o'clock. So that was a very nice slide lower here, not gonna lie, into this 4-hour inversion for value gap. Completely reasonable idea. Relative equal highs were taken, and then price started slipping lower aggressively into this area, and now we are here. So far the lower half of that 15-minute CB provides the comfort zone for the price. It's not allowed to really explore the upper portion of it, which might set up a potential lower low if it stays like this. All right, so we are slipping slightly lower off of this. We closed now below it, so I'm watching if the low offers any sensitivity. But no real fair value gaps forming so far, so I have like nothing to worry about, or nothing to work with, rather, I should say. So still kind of need to wait for something to flash, which is fine, I guess, which is fine. By the way, yesterday I had my debut in Traders Roundup, hosted by Keith, and ICT was there, and that was first time I was able to ask a question live to him. It was a pleasure, really, really exciting, to be honest. I gotta say, I want to more often attend this event, though. Really interesting experience. You describe this week here at 4:30 on 15-minute chart. That's what you are referring to. If yes, then sure. I mean, you would still use both, but you would incorporate the week too. For the sake of clarity, I just use the CB, but I'm aware that the consecutive encroachment is almost like aligning with the 50% here on the CB, so that's like a rough estimation here on my part. Alright, so far price is meandering and spending time inside of this 15-minute inefficiency. This is how it looks like here on that 15-minute chart. We've taken relative equal low sell side, now trading back into internal range liquidity in form of a CB right here. Also this gap, I mean weak, but that's like a gap. And yeah, we're watching because so far price is just consolidating. No problem, Nekopasu, no problem. That's what I heard him teach also. So yeah, great question on your part too. So yeah, were you listening to this space? Yeah, I to be honest, I was like a long-term listener. Basically, almost every time when Michaelito was there, I was like listening or listening afterwards, but never really got the guts to step in and ask something. But yeah, yesterday I felt like this is the day, and it was really cool. So I can recommend that if you want, if you have time and some good questions, then it's really cool opportunity. But yeah, nonetheless, price is on hold. So yeah, generally speaking, as we are trading back into this inversion fair value gap, anything to the upper quadrant, which is here at 26,326 and a half, is like a reasonable idea, reasonable draw on the downside here. That I would personally like reasonably expect, right? So still we could take this low out here and possibly reach towards the upper quadrant, and it would be still higher time frame bullish. So that's something I'm keeping in mind. Yeah, the spaces are gold mines for sure. Lots of gems, lots of answered questions, lots of real talk, really. Which is stronger, mitigation block or breaker? Breaker. This one was easy. This one was simple question. Breaker. Mitigation block is you always have to consider that it might give way and run the liquidity. Breaker has a little bit more structure, more resistance, that it shouldn't do that generally if on the right side. Therefore, mitigation blocks are better for targets, but breakers are better for entries and targets. Yeah, all right. So you're referring to this as mitigation block. That's completely fair. So we indeed have like many PD arrays overlapping in here, but if you look like more to the left, right, you will see this block of down candles here, and what this is, that's actually a bearish breaker. Okay, so this high, this low, and a higher high, and it basically overlaps with this mitigation block. But whenever I see that, I will always look at the breaker. It will take the precedence over the mitigation block from my experience. Okay, so I would key my attention to this, but it also overlaps with this SEBI here. So we have a lot of premium arrays that are stacked in this area here. But yeah, good observation on your part, Mr. Soul Shift. Soul Shift. Crazy ass name, bro. Soul Shift. Deep. Deep, deep, deep. So yeah, generally the idea is, if we look like on the 15-minute chart, that because we do have this breaker, because we have this CB, because we have this wick, and all of these are premium arrays, and we are approaching them, I want to give this like a chance to perform, because if it wants to trade lower, and so far it shows all the signatures that it wants to do so, so this low up or down into the upper quadrant of that 4-hour inversion would be reasonable ideas, reasonable draws at this moment, I would say. Okay, so as long as these premium arrays are not being like broken and inversed, then we kinda are having some bearish tone today. That's how I see it, at least. So the sell side here, I don't want to annotate it because it's basically overlapping with this quadrant, octane from that inversion, but that's where the sell side liquidity resides. So far price traded up into this CB here and couldn't post any body in the upper half. Okay, so that's by definition a bearish market, a bearish signature. So as we will, or as we can like start developing further price action running away from it, the premium arrays on 1 minute should be respected and propel price lower, aiming for this low here near term, because that's where the sell side is. Looks like we might be on the move here. And again, the upper quadrant is my near term draw on the downside, but it could drop as far as to the consecutive encroachment. Okay, so this is like the maximum I see on the downsides for now, but upper quadrant is like reasonable. And I guess we might have a good study of that today, whether it holds any truth or not. Okay, so we had a fair value gap here that we closed below. So I would like to see it act as inversion here. It could touch to it and repel price lower. Let's see. I guess we could bring the 15-second chart to the party. Okay, so it does get a little busy here, but I need to find a way to navigate and annotate clean pools of liquidity. Okay. So I'm referring to those relative equal highs here on the week basis. You can see that on 1 minute and on the 15-second. And on 1 minute it's further more interesting as price has an inefficiency right linked to it. So this looks suspect on the upside. And we did close above the 50% of this inversion for value gap, but there is another one slightly higher, so I will annotate that too. And it would need to propel price lower if it's actually willing to see a run on this low. This is not what we would like to see, right? Clearly. So that makes me think that we might want to gravitate towards this area of clean buy side and inefficiency. Okay, that makes sense at the moment. Okay, it's really screaming higher. Let's see if it forms any form of inefficiency that it wants to return to. But yeah, that's where I'm thinking it might want to go right now with the current price action here. So the buy side at 26,424 ish might be targeted. It traded into the CB, and I'm watching how the bodies are finding some support or sensitivity at the low of that inefficiency, higher time frame inefficiency. That's generally a bullish sign too, if the bodies are respecting a level like this. It did form a 1 minute BC right here, so I'm watching if we can tap into it by any means. And maybe that will offer some intel. It looks like a small little bull flag right here. Would be nice to see it break lower to some discount. It's approaching this BC. That lays over top of the high of that 4-hour inversion fair value gap. So let me use this. So we did touch to the high of it here. Nobody's really permitted to close inside. That looks bullish to run the buy side liquidity here. And that would be around 15 handles. Yeah, slightly more, maybe 17, if it offers a run from the high to the buy side, relative equal highs. So definitely a nice little hypothetical drill in here, running nicely. It should be smashing through the buy side. So this is basically one-on-one what we saw yesterday, done by Mr. Michael Lido. We'll see if we can poke above that highs. I would expect that we should do so from here, but we'll see. Okay, it formed a higher 1 minute fair value gap right here. Probably last stop before running out the buy side, I would suspect. Traded into it. Alright, so I like how they are respecting the upper half of this inefficiency here. In my opinion, it should just smash through the buy side. So let's see if I can get a run on that buy side liquidity here. Stop loss below the candle number 1, and target would be trading into this 1 minute CB. Including the volume imbalance here, that would be, yeah, before the consecutive encroachment. Right, so far it looked pretty strong here and respecting their PDRS nicely. Therefore, I like to see a participation in run on the buy side here. But yeah, if it fails in this area, that will be a little bit suspect, but that's fine. So it went below this 1 minute fair value gap here on a closing basis. That's not what I want to see generally, but I'm giving it the chance to reclaim it on the next candle. If it doesn't, then probably a deeper retracement is warranted, and the fact that they are not willing to take this buy side here now might be also suspect. But maybe this is only a manner of a deeper, slightly deeper retracement. I'm watching the low of that CB here, whether it offers any sensitivity, but looks like it doesn't. So back inside of the BC, the original one here, and another pool of clean, can I take this here, clean relative equal highs. So trading down into this BC, I'm watching also the high of this 4-hour bullish inversion fair value gap, but looks like the bodies on 15-second are being capped right here at the consecutive encroachment. So that's possibly good, possibly promising here. I would like to see this inefficiency here to offer potential for inversion. Why this one? Because it's the last one prior running out this low here. But yeah, price didn't close above it yet. It did move above the 50%, but not closed altogether above it. So I'm waiting still. Still touching into the consecutive encroachment here. Slightly lower low. If it's still willing to go higher, I would expect a rejection here. Let's see if we can get it. ES did run that high out, but NQ didn't. Yeah, so they might be playing around a little bit, but still I believe this is quite a obvious liquidity pool that might be in play. Let's see. The upper half of this BC being respected, that's something I like. Again, I would like to see this fair value gap here work or act as inversion fair value gap. If we can close above it and then touch, I would look for entry with the same idea. Aiming for the buy side and the 1 minute CB. So far not getting it there. Okay, price is really struggling to inverse this inefficiency here so far, but it worked in the upper half only, and no body close below. Okay, looks like we are now trading above it. So any touch back into it, I would consider with a long idea to run the buy side liquidity out in form of relative equal lows. So I believe we got a touch there. And this is targeting both liquidity pools here into the CB on the 1 minute. So preferably now we see some response here in this area. The wicks can go in the lower half of that inversion, but the bodies shouldn't. One body I would say is theoretically acceptable in here. A moho could be possible, but the next one would need to quickly get back into the inversion, preferably above it. If this one here will not close above it, I will close it by hand and wait for the price to do it, to close above it again. Because otherwise, if it wants to drop and make a lower low, then I don't necessarily want to take a participation in that. So it made a run on the low here on 15 second. Let's see if it can reclaim that. Inversion there. A little bit too much time is being spent inside of the SPC here, in my opinion. But let's see if we can manage to squeeze something here. Alright, so if we can close above this inversion here again and trade down into it, I would be interested in retaking the trade. The higher order idea would be if we go above this on a closing basis, we could maybe touch and try to get a portion there. So potential two chances, two opportunities. This inversion and potential the second one. So let's see. Okay, I want to see how it touches into this. Right there. And the same draw, those relative equal highs. So again, I want to see price stay above the upper half of this inversion here and send it potentially towards the buy sell liquidity here. That's very clean, and the buy sell liquidity here, that's also clean. So two very smooth layers of buy sell liquidity and a SIBI, an actual inefficiency linked to it. So a very strong draw on liquidity, in my opinion. So I like how it reacted off of the upper half here. Yeah, that was pretty dope. Then it got filled nonetheless. I will move the stop to even here and see if we can get another chance to get it. Looks like it went very close to it, but let's see. That was only a week, so still might be willing to push this on the body basis. Let's see. That went quick, didn't it? Yeah, the buy side here, they really went for it. But unfortunately, I didn't get my fill. Let's see. This should act as a measure of support here to send it one more time higher, possibly, if it could. If it doesn't and it falls out of the bed and stops me out, I'll take that too. It is what it is. But yeah, I would consider this one as a close one. At least it won't turn into a losing trade, so that's a positive. And always look for the positives, okay? Always. So now also I want to take attention to this relative equal lows here. That's kind of too clean, isn't it? On this 15-second. If it's good, it should be running higher from here. Now, let's see. All right. So if it could approach a higher high to this, then that would be a very good exit liquidity for me. Because they snap it so quickly here and then reject it, I believe a lot of people could chase shorts here and actually have a stop right above this high. So maybe that's the liquidity that I could use for exit. But let's see. It is becoming a little bit sloppy in here, spending a little bit more time than I would like on this 15 second in this area. But yeah. Because we only poked above that buy side on the basis of a week on both 15 second and 1 minute, I believe there is still a reasonable chance that we might see a deeper purge on a body basis. But that's something that I'm willing to observe. Because this position is already risk-free, I'm able to, like, I'm in the comfortable spot, right? Because if it goes lower, I lose nothing, right? But this is still, I would say, reasonable. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. As long as we are above this 1 minute reclaimed bullish fair value gap here, then this is kind of like in the cards. But the problem is how much time this spends in here. And yeah, it invites sloppiness or problematic areas. It's still spending time inside of this 15-minute inefficiency, hanging right below the consecutive encroachment. So that's also something that is a little bit concerning, whether we will see this push up higher one more time. But I guess if that was like a stop rate to go lower, they would be quickly running away from it, and they are not necessarily doing that so far. Alright, touch to the consecutive encroachment of this reclaimed bullish fair value gap, and if it's good, it should be reacting here strongly and quickly moving away. Okay, that's what I like. That's what I like to see. And now just continuously push. I generally don't like how the bodies respected the consecutive encroachment here, but if you can drop into this volume imbalance and move away, that's not a problem for my position. So we did, and we moved away. So okay, that should be still fine, should be alright. That should be actually alright. And possibly the higher high should be in the crosshairs here. Unless it's not, right? Unless it's not. Okay, looks like I'm being denied in here. Still, now it formed another pool of clean buy set here. So that's still very suspect. I would still like to see it trade higher above that. But yeah, this type of rejection like this, not something you want to see. So this market condition kind of became way more unfavorable in my opinion, but just because I had a risk-free view on this, it makes me like still being in it, right? This attempt here should really go through the buy set here without any problems. So we should see that. There we go. So nice. Not gonna lie, when it dropped here, I was like, probably I'm going to get stopped out, because we had those relatively lows here also. But yeah, in the end, it did draw into the SIBI here on the 1 minute and cleared all the very clean and smooth buy sell liquidity that was resting here. So nice in that regard. Okay, so let's recoup the attention, and these relatively lows way too clean. These pretty clean on the 15-second chart, and now we are going to be possibly approaching the high of the SIBI, but also we have this inefficiency here on the 1 minute. So I'm watching whether price will trade above it actually, or will it be capped around this area. Not gonna lie, the lows look kinda suspect here. Look at these. This low and this low. Kinda suspect. So far the bodies respect the consecutive encroachment of this 1 minute inefficiency. Yet to see if we can manage anything higher. I like this busy right here to maybe become a potential inversion for valley gap to run towards the relative equal lows here and here. This is the last inefficiency before running those relative equal highs, and if we could trade below it, use the lower half, it would look promising as a run on the sell side. Mr. Soul Shift is asking whether there is any way to know when there will be institutional order flow entry drill and when it's less likely, right? And my friend, the answer is yes. There are some ways to weather that, and there are some ideas to justify an likely IOFET versus a normal fair value gap. I like how we trade below this, so now I'm watching if we can return or show any return to this inefficiency, especially before taking out the sell side here would be great. So if we can touch back into this, I would be considering short into the relative equal lows there. Okay, it tapped there, stop loss above the inversion, and that would be like the best case here. On the near term, this would be reasonable here, so that might be a partial. I like the touch. I like that the bodies are not inside of this inefficiency, and I would like to see just smash lower. And yeah, when we take this sell side, I move the stop, and there we go. That was a quick one. Not gonna lie. Someone heard me outline this beforehand, or I was muted asking for a friend. Nah, just kidding. Thanks, Mr. Captain Singh. Nice to see you, by the way, again. I can notice few names being almost every stream, so shout out to you guys for spending time with me, and I'm glad that I can help. I'm basically, that's the reason why I'm here, because I want to inspire. I want to show the craft in a way that is approachable. So yeah, all right, now that it ran the sell side liquidity here out, it cleared all of the clean levels here, so I will take those out. And the sell side was made jagged very quickly, and price came all the way up here. So I'm watching this area whether it offers any resistance to price, but if we go above it, then this high is pretty suspect. But at this moment I kinda don't know. so I would stay away for a while. Yeah, thanks. Peace, my friend. Peace, my friend. Yeah, maybe the slight reasoning why is because 2 years ago, I was streaming daily, or sometimes even 3 times a day. It was nuts. I was going crazy, bro. I was going crazy. But nonetheless, I was streaming every day for like 6 months straight, and I gotta say that this experience of streaming gave me a different perspective about approaching marketplace, about managing the mindset and the emotions specifically, because when you are trading in front of people, in front of, like, back then the max I had, like, I don't know, 40 some people watching live, and I was like stressing when trading in front of them. I was really like worried about whether I will win or lose, and I wanted to be right, and I wanted to have winning trades. And I found out this conundrum, this character flaw in myself, that I was like really caring about the opinion of others, and like seeing my next trade, if I would like win, then I'm like great, but if I would lose, then I was like trash, right? Which is not true. That's not that's not how this game works, right? Obviously streaming is a different kind of burden, but honestly I can recommend that experience to someone who never tried, to see how they feel when trading in front of someone. Because then if you don't know something, or if you know that you are not ready, kinda, or not there, you will feel that. You will really feel the areas that are weak, and then you have the opportunity to work on those areas and improve. And that's kind of what I did. So yeah, just a little bit of storytelling. Unless we are just spending and messing around inside of this 15-minute inefficiency right here, tapping into it, and that's it pretty much. There is a very small little inefficiency on the hourly that we poked into, and again, it kinda, or as long as we don't decisively trade above the CB and the breaker, I think that the heavy point will be trading deeper into this 4-hour inversion for value gap. That's how it kinda, that's what it kinda suggests at this moment, but we'll see though. We'll see how it goes. So here on the 5-minute, those lows here look very suspect, very suspect. Obviously the consecutive encroachment of this week here might be noteworthy. Oh my god, what am I talking about? God damn it. But yeah, also this week here might be noteworthy. But yeah, so far looks like we came all the way up to this inefficiency here. We respected the lower half and moved away. So if it's bearish here, we would like to continuously see the 15-second premium arrays be respected and propose lower prices, right? Gotcha, Nekobasu, gotcha. You're right, that's true. That's true. That's a good point, and that's also like a level that you would like to have on your chart. I don't have it here because it would be very busy if I did. It already is pretty busy, as you can see. But yeah. So again, I kinda think that we might be coming off a little bit lower, but again, remember that at 8:30 we have news coming, so because we are 50 minutes ahead of that, we might slow down a little bit and offer some measure of consolidation. So the next 50 minutes, I would say, is kind of like to watch and see what we do, what it does around here. I might recalibrate a little bit here. Let me take this off here and let's annotate the hourly fair value gap right there. So that was not there previously when I was annotating the 50-minute inefficiency, but now it's there, so it takes precedence. And if you look closely to the left, there is this long wick. Okay, you would also want to have this on your chart, or at least the 50% level. And I will only use the 50% for the sake of clarity on the chart, but just know that it's there. Okay, so what price did so far, we traded into the consecutive encroachment of that week, into this inefficiency here on the hourly, and we rejected that quite nicely here so far. Lower half of this also respected, smashed lower, cleared the near-term liquidity on the sell side, and now we kinda are in this moment to still decide whether we will poke lower or deeper. I believe with all of this here so far, I suggest or favor that we will see a lower low here for the day, until or unless we will just smash right on through this premium here. Okay, if we just nail above that, then I would defer that idea, but right now I would look for any arguments to consider a potential run lower. Okay, so now let's go back to 1 minute, but it's not showing my box. Let's do it this way. So now it looks a little bit cleaner, you gotta say, a little bit cleaner. So premium right here clearly hit, we're working off of that, then price being rejected there, moves lower, kind of sloppy in here, but it's reasonable ahead of the news at 8:30. So I don't want to make big predictions before the news, but I believe those lows here are kinda too suspect. Also, if we extend this longer, then this looks like a trend line phantom to me. So this type of trend lines I like to fade. So I like to expect price to trade through them, and if that would be the case, then this sell side liquidity here would be the trend line liquidity. Cool term, right? We're learning something new, guys, right? No, it's all out there. But this is kind of like the idea and the narrative that I'm building. So taking into consideration this premium right here, how we traded into it and how price respected the lower half very well, moved away, respected the premium right here on the 1 minute, moved away, and we have all of the sell side here that's in form of a trend line liquidity, and the midpoint of that trend line, that's where the majority of the liquidity is. So that's like the bread and butter target. It could still go lower than that, but that would be like the minimum expectation here. And so far, look what they're doing. So they offered this touch here, they offered this touch here, moved higher, and now it's rallying higher off of this trend line sort of idea. So that could be a great trap in my opinion. Taking it back to the premium array and respecting that would be a banter of a setup into going into the news, especially because they will have all of this liquidity here. So that will be interesting to watch today. I will see how it goes. Right, so far traded above this inefficiency here. The bodies are kind of still staying inside of it, but I assume we might want to touch to the consecutive encroachment of on that week. Remember, that's the yellow line, which is also the low of this hourly fair value gap. But we went very close so far, failed to reach it. If we would fail altogether and not make a higher high here, that would be omega weakness here, and smash lower would be great. But we still can see it touch higher. Another attempt here, also failing. That's potential weakness building up here. The body staying inside of it, even though the wicks were trying to reach here, but they couldn't even reach the premium array, and the bodies were staying inside of. Okay, so let me anticipate that staying like this. Why? Because we had relative equal highs here that were poked, rejected, failed to reach a premium array, and if I'm correct with my assumption that rally up was fake and we should see a run on the liquidity here, on the trend line sell side liquidity. Might be wrong, and I'm glad to take it to swallow it then, but the idea, I like the idea. So let's see. Let's see. So as price is reaching higher here, this also looks like a bull flag here, but I really prefer to see it still fail to reach the consecutive encroachment and the hourly fair value gap. That's the ideal scenario. Okay, I don't want to see price trade into it. It already showed me initial unwillingness to trade to it. Therefore, I kind of trusted into it that it won't, but we'll see. I might be wrong. But this looks kind of perfect. Again, 15 second, 1 minute, that looks like a bull flag here. Bullish pattern that I love to fade. With all of this narrative, that could be a banter of a drop. Let's see. So now as we close below this fair value gap, preferably we respect the lower half. 4 minutes before the news are hitting. So let's see. All right. I like these spikes, these quick spikes lower, but still it has to like show complete slide lower, very quick, very fast, because people are being trapped, in my opinion. Might be wrong, but in my opinion, longs are being trapped with all of these bullish patterns, and the fact that it failed to even reach this premium right here many times, that's omega weakness to me algorithmically. But let's see, 3 minutes, 2 minutes. Will the news go to the history here? Still looks like a beautiful bull flag. I honestly just hope that they will not spike it higher first. I honestly hope that they will just keep it heavy, and that would be like ideal scenario in my opinion. But let's see. I'm really curious how it will go. 1 minute until the news, 8:30. Theoretically everything is set. The stage is set to send it. Alright, rejection now, maybe, please, someone. Okay, Okay, I'm probably wrong then. Yikes. All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. They did a run higher still first. If they go below this, I might uh, uh, re-engage with the same idea in mind. But considering that that was a stop run and fake move higher first, and that this is the sell side that they really want to go. So still basically the same idea that I was outlining, but now we got the manipulation in here. So now it should actually deliver if it's correct. So yeah, nice move lower here, but it needs to like really pick up speed, because that's what they should attack, the sell side liquidity below this trend line. Alright, I moved the risk to even now, and I want to see a deeper dive, not just a poke like this, but really like a smash. Alright, because this candle on 1 minute wicked through this trend line phantom, and now it's kind of like rejecting it slightly, I require to really overcome this wick quickly, so on the next candle, otherwise I'm likely wrong. And that's what we've seen here, and okay, that's fine. I will take this. I will take it. I will take it. I will take it. We do have relative equal highs engineered right here also. I still don't trust that the sell side is safe. I mean, I still think that the sell side might be traded through. But okay, let's wait. Let's wait. This inefficiency is like a line in the sand for me. If we are above it, I think relative equal highs could be in play here. They are very close in proximity, and that could be like the final type of manipulation, maybe, before actually running the sell side here. So that's kind of how I think about it. So if you were to run this relative equal highs buy side, I would expect a quick rejection and then the sell side here. But let's see. So yeah, they are really selling the idea of this bullish trend, bullish canal right here, which I don't trust completely. There we go. So we got the buy side liquidity here. We tapped into it. So now if we roll over below this inefficiency here, I would expect it as a potential opportunity again to run the trend line liquidity. So let's see if we can do that. We run the buy side, rejected quickly so far, and I'm watching this inefficiency. If we close below it, then this is still game on for the pre-market to be cleared. I like how the bodies stayed on the 15-second below the consecutive encroachment of this hourly fair value gap. So that's a bearish signature here after buy side relative equal high is taken. So basically everything is now set to send it lower and run the sell side out, in my opinion. Okay, I mean my platform froze for real, bro. Let's see if we can get a touch. Okay, I guess that's close enough. We shouldn't be trading above it anyway. So now let's see. Probably last attempt. To run on the sell side liquidity here. In my opinion, everything is in place for them to really take it lower here. So if they don't, that's a major red flag in my mind. Trading again into the trend line, so it should really lose the ground. There is no reason for price to move higher at this moment, unless it's like highly manipulated. Okay, this inefficiency needs to offer resistance here. That's what I want to see. I want to see resistance. I will add another one here as it was trading into it. So total of 3 micro contracts, aiming for the trend line sell side liquidity here. I like the reaction here, and now it should really like start losing ground quickly. So fast, pick up the speed, because they done all the dirty job, all the dirty work of manipulating, stopping out shorts. So now they want to take it quickly away. Okay, let's see if I don't want to see any return to this trend line also on the upside. I don't think it's needed or constructive for anyone. So as we close below it here, it should just lose the ground and quickly approach this low here, because that's where the liquidity is on the downside right now. I will reduce the stop loss to right above this inversion here, in case they're playing some dirty tricks, and just let it go, let it be. I really want to see some more speed here. Also these 2 weeks, I want to see them overtake him quickly with the body. That would be like a very nice signature that I'm on side with my expectation. So also speed is welcome. Speed is what I want to see. I don't want to see it being slow in here like this. That's problematic. That's actually problematic. So yeah, it is what it is, I guess. If they come up higher as they do, I don't like to see that. So then altogether I might be wrong about my idea, but until price stays below this 15-second imbalance, I do like to see it expand lower. But yeah, it's also trading into this week here on the 1 minute. That could act as a premium array, and that's kind of like the last chance for it really to develop here, because otherwise it kind of loses the momentum, loses the speed factor. And if they did the manipulation here, and if they want to like really put people quickly offside and then run the other direction, they already did the work on the upside. So now they should really be quickly moving away, right? That should be the signature that we would see in price. And even though initially we did saw a speed element, now we are kind of slowing down, and that's not the signature that I want to see at this moment. Okay, so pick up some speed, take out the short-term low with speed, and that's good. Okay, if we don't do that in the next couple of minutes, then I'm probably wrong about my assumption, or about the timing of the assumption at least, which yeah can happen, I guess. So yeah, another return here. I really I'm not a fan of that. So yeah, it's going to my entry here. I am considering in my mind closing this position here, but at the same time I want to give it the chance to deliver still. So there is a war in my mind, but I like to see this. Okay, this is comforting. This is what I want to see. About in time, okay? So now this displacement should take out this low here quickly, and we should accelerate towards this low here, okay? Then I'm all good. Then I'm Gucci. Then I won the war in my mind, okay? Then I'm actually a warrior. God damn it. So this low quickly overtaken now. And now I move stop loss to even, okay? No need for the price to come back higher. If it does, I'm altogether cooked. So let's keep it simple like that. If it comes back higher here, I was just incorrect. So let's see. Okay, so far so good. Staying heavy here. I like that. I like the bodies respecting this fair value gap here. Closing below this is ideal. I believe we did. So within this idea, partials are considered, but after price would run a little bit more from the entry price, because this idea potentially could offer a larger range if correct. And yeah, if it's not correct, I'm already at break-even stop loss. So I want to take all or nothing in this type of scenario, and I will have to live with it. I like the return to this fair value gap here. Now quick rejection, and we should be good. Then we should be good. And again, if it goes higher, then I don't mind. Then I just don't want to mess with this mess. Okay? That's how I see it. The trend line sell liquidity is still resting right here, right below this low. And if they're overzealous, they might even go for this low here. But this should be a bread and butter type of draw. So I guess the next couple of minutes will reveal the truth. The truth will reveal itself to us. But by the way, things aside, this is very ugly price action, I would say. Very, very ugly. and yeah, very dirty tricks are being used. Alright, failing to get any ground lower. It did engineer some relatively close here, body wise, so this kinda looks suspect. Still willing to see a lower low, but the amount of manipulation, the amount of holding price and preventing anyone to get the idea what they want to do is astonishing today. Okay, so we are hitting also the macro right now. So with all of this holding of the price here, we should see a release lower if it's good, if the idea that I painted is actually correct. We should see a release and a nice low resistance liquidity run towards the sell side here. But other than that, I have nothing to tell you. I really don't. If it stays like this, I'm as clueless as you are. Very, very, very difficult price action here. And I feel like my head is ready to being cut off at any time. Let's see, couple more minutes how it will go. Playing dirty Philly, dear Philly. So with this type of pre-market, again, the morning session seems to be or will be rather problematic, I would say. All right, so taking this low out needs to see speed. It needs to see that element of displacement. That's very important for my trade idea. If we don't see that here, it kind of like favors continuation of this mess, which I don't like to observe that. But okay, let's see. We did now move below it, so it should continue. It should continuously be reaching lower towards this low here. So far so good. Okay, I can trim my stop loss a little bit lower here. Okay, below that sell side, actually no, as it's running, I want to give it some room, because now this is the time. This is the liquidity. I take one off here as it's reaching into this balanced price range right there, but still my main target is the sell side liquidity here. So now as it traded down into this 4-hour inversion fair value gap, this high could offer premium sensitivity here. It doesn't so far, but I would like to see it. All right, and we came all the way up here. That's not what I want to see though. That's not what I want to see. Okay, you know what, guys? I'm closing this here because it starts to really annoy me here. I'll be done. If it runs, if it delivers, I will still watch. But the way the way it's trading here, it's so high resistance, it's so manipulated, it's so difficult really, that I don't want to like lose my mind over it. But nonetheless, remember that here is the sell side liquidity, and that we could see that maybe later today. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for today. It was a banter warrior session, really taking some effort, but nonetheless we saw few spiky price runs here and there, and the logic is more or less holding the water. But yeah, it should now, as it will approach this low, it should like pick up insane speed and like lose the ground in 1-2 candles lower, if it's good. This is possibly still good. Okay, I don't regret not being in it anymore, because I saw how it was delivering, but nonetheless this has potential. Okay, not saying that it will deliver, but it has potential. And again, that will be it for today. I wish you guys a pleasant reminder of the day, and I will be there tomorrow for the last stream of the pre-market session for this week. Okay, next week I'll be dealing with the 9:30 to 11:15 ish AM open. Okay, so that will be the menu for the next week. But tomorrow, last day pre-market. See you guys 7 AM. Bye.